Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to NinjaTrader Live. I'm Tracy Shuchart, senior economist, and here are the headlines while we are away. At 12:30, we had that crazy little price action in the index markets. We saw a bit of a spike down, and then it quickly recovered. Apparently, that appears to have been triggered by a Reuters report breaking at the time, citing sources that the Trump administration was considering broad new export restrictions on products containing or made in the U.S. with U.S. software to China. The proposed curbs were positioned as a retaliation against China's recent limits on rare earth metals exports. That said, overall, the report said it's preliminary and unconfirmed. It was described as under consideration instead of an imminent policy, so markets quickly recovered. But if you are wondering what happened, that is what happened at 12:30. Next, we have initial jobless claims filed by federal workers spiked 121% week over week, reaching 7,244 in the week of October 11th, the highest since 2019 government shutdown. Now, we don't have the BLS reports, obviously, because they're shut because of the government shutdown, but we do have data from at the state level, and so that's how they were able to get these numbers out. Next, we had a 20-year auction. That auction, we'll give it an A-. It actually went well, as most of the other 20-year auctions have not been as good as people are apprehensive to hold duration in the U.S., but this one went pretty well, bid to cover 2.58, indicating moderate demand compared to recent averages. The auction yield of 4.506 came in slightly below the prevailing market yield of 4.52, suggesting solid demand. If you kind of have weaker demand, we will see those bonds have to yield higher than current yields to entice people to buy them, but this actually came in below, so it's definitely a decent auction. Then we had this Nick Timrose, I don't know if you know who he is, from the Wall Street Journal, posted that the Federal Reserve officials who are unable to receive U.S. economic statistics due to the continuing shutdown recently lost access to employment data from ADP, and that is the private payroll data, which I actually think is better than the BLS data because it's real time. It's not a survey that they have to collect. This is actual payroll data from a payroll firm. But I guess Fed Governor Waller cited ADP data in a footnote to a speech on the economy in late August, and so they pulled the Fed's ability to gain real-time access to the payroll processing. So very interesting. I guess they're flying blind on both ends right now. And then last but not least, we had a Trump tweet about cattle. He said cattle ranchers have to get their prices down. Now, I'll read the exact quote first. He said, "Cattle ranchers who I love don't understand that the only reason they're doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done in the past 20 years. Terrible. It would be nice if they would understand that and would get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor." We've had numerous people on to talk about the ag markets and to talk about the cattle markets. As we know, we have a severe shortage of cattle in this market that started during the COVID era and has just since gotten worse. So I don't really think that tariffs on other countries have done anything other than raise prices for foreign meats as well as domestic meats. So I will end it there and pass it off to Jimmy for an Edge report.
Thank you, Shai. Well, now that you mention it, let's take a look at a live cattle chart. We have one right up here on the screen. It is handy. This is a daily candle chart. December's the front month. The trend really started all the way back here on June 26th, and it's a pretty consistent trend up. We kind of went sideways a while, starting at the end of August and then into September, resumed our rally again. This whole distance represents about a 20% change to the upside. So cattle prices a little bit heavy here. Today we did have a red candle, a pretty significant kind of benchmark red candle. Brought us back down to that 23.6% retracement level. But moving averages are still aggressively upward right now. And this started from the get-go. So I don't know if this has to do with the comments or not. Most likely not, but this is just a real quick. Remember, they have abbreviated hours in the cattle market, but this is just an intraday chart, 30 minutes. It's been selling off below VWAP all day long. So there's your cattle update from NinjaTrader Live. Let's shoot over to the micro Bitcoin, though. Micro Bitcoin, again, fascinating market. Let's shoot over to the dailies. Bear with me. There we go. I mean, we're just sitting right on this 108. 500 zone I have highlighted here from these lows from the beginning of September all the way through today. We're just sitting on it right now. We have a nice sell-off, a little bit of a retracement back up, right? We retraced back up past that 31.8% on a wick basis. On a candle close basis, though, we didn't get over that 31.8%, and then sellers just pushed us back down, and we're back down here. Next step down, in my humble opinion, is around that 101.5 area here. There's that rectangle down there as well. We're still in a negative gamma condition. Intraday to see if anything's changed since we talked about this a couple hours ago, and it really hasn't. I mean, we're literally, the bias is within the value area from RTH, and let me just kind of update that. Oopsie, come on, Jim, you could do it. Maybe. There we go. Oh, it's updated. The value area from the regular trading hours, it's biased. It's skewed to the bottom, right? The point of control of that RTH volume profile is right, at the bottom end of the 108 handle right now, and we've been kind of trading from VWAP down to that ever since launch. So before that, it was initial balance high to low. Now remember, we talked about that stat. That Menthor Q stat, we have a 3.85%, I'm sorry, Edgeful stat, we have a 3.85% chance of a candle not closing, a 30-minute candle not closing below the initial balance low or above the initial balance high based on a 6-month look back for candle closes. Yeah, we wick through on the top, we wick through on the bottom, but that stat is a candle close. We might get that 3.85% day today, but who knows? Anything could really happen with the Bitcoin. So we don't need to go to a daily chart for that. Let's just kind of move over to the main event, the E-mini S&P. Let me get my daily chart up. It's been a long day, people. That's all I could say. But it's gonna get a lot longer. Let's just kind of check this out real quickly here. Decent sized red candle. And some areas of interest here to think about. We have this. This is the contract roll volume profile. I started it on the 15th of September. We talked about this morning with Farm, and that point of control, that price happiness point of control, is right around 67.10, 67.9, and we're almost sitting on it again. So over a longer period of time, sometimes these longer period volume profiles do act as magnets for price, and we saw it here today as well. We had the other thing we have here is some other volume nodes. This isn't a really smooth volume profile yet, and it might never be. But we have another volume node a little bit lower here at 94, and below that at 66. We'll round it. We'll just say 66, 67. So there are some targets on the downside should this continue to go downside. Remember, we're in a positive gamma condition here, and there's Menthor Q's Q score from earlier this morning. Intraday. A lot of lines intraday, that's for sure. So some of these old areas in resistance, I pulled them aside. I kept them rolling here. That's that purple line from yesterday. We lost VWAP in the rearview mirror right here, the second 30-minute candle during the initial balance, and we haven't really looked back. We wicked through it once. That was it. VWAP, a lot of price separation between the session VWAP and where we're trading at right now. And not only did we get to that one-day min, that Menthor Q one-day min, we got to S3, which is kind of rare. We don't always get to S3 a lot. And then this is Pax's, I got to double check with him, but I think those yellow lines should be Pax's quarterly pivot, but I'll double check. Zero DTE put support. We wicked through that at 67 even. And I don't know why we had this big sell-off, but we did, and it continues down. Going through the rest of the day here, the point of control is pretty far north right now, and so it's going to be hard to get to 67, 70. I'm not saying we can't, but it's pretty hard to get there. We'd have to cross that VWAP on the upside. The competing volume nodes here are at 49, 67, 49. Another one at 67.40. And then way down here at the bottom, see this little guy? Well, it's not so little. That's at 67.10, 67.09, which corresponds with that overall contract daily volume profile point of control. So I'm going to keep that highlighted on my chart. That is this afternoon's Edge report. We are ready to trade the close. We have Xyzeee in the house, and Nick is working on his PC. My understanding is hopefully he'll be here as well. How you doing, Xyzeee?
Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, Nick's having some PC issues, so we'll hang tight and hopefully he can get that sorted soon.
Yeah, but I got some good news.
What's the good news?
So when we were in Naples, I met this super cool cat. His name was Jared Tendler, and Jared is the master of the mental game, a mental game coach in poker, golf, and in trading. And he wrote The Mental Game of Trading. It's an awesome book. I got to meet him. I know you did too. And not only is he a great guy, he's a terrific athlete. Like golf, I think he won the golf.
Everything. He's good at
He won
everything.
tennis. He won arm wrestling. I mean, unbelievable. But he
That
was a
just goes
great.
to show the mental game is everything, right? You can do anything
Yeah.
if you got that right.
So he's going to be hosting a segment at the end of the day, 4 o'clock. So don't leave after XY banks a bunch of dough here. Hopefully, keep our fingers crossed on trading the close.
We'll
Jared is
see.
going to host a segment called Retail Therapy, where he literally has a couple of traders, some random retail traders that are going to be live with him on the show and ask him questions, and then hey, where you hung up, what are your difficulties, what are your struggles, and Jared's going to go right into it and talk about the psychology of retail trading. So that's going to be he did it once before and he is awesome. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Jared's awesome.
Yeah. So don't leave, you guys. 4 o'clock, we're rolling, everybody. Um, oh, boy, you got trade rolling, man?
I do, yeah. I am currently sitting long right now.
Uh-huh.
Yep, yep.
Naji Long. Well, I see a lot of green up on your position tracker.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Not too bad. Dude, you're buying dinner if we meet in Vegas.
It's been a day. I could say that much. It's definitely been a day.
Oh, you had a good day?
Yeah, the morning was really nice and the action's just been really good. Can't
Yeah.
complain. I got paid by gold in the morning, which was
Really?
interesting.
So you were short.
I was short gold and then I missed the NQ short because I was like messing around over in gold. And then I caught some longs in NQ. Um, yeah, it's been a day.
Well, it sounds good. It's been a good day.
Yeah, I can't complain.
All right, all right. Well,
I
don't
got dinner
forget.
next time, Jim.
Not only that, I'm actually you could earn me some extra dough.
Yeah.
My money's on you for Monday for
Very dicey. We saw what happened last time. You make me trade a whole day, things can get really interesting.
well, that might be the key though, too. I mean, you know, I wonder about the strategy where, you come out of the blocks running, you get a good head start, and then take the middle of the day off, then pop back in, see where you're at, and try to get back involved. That might not be a bad strategy.
That's what I'm gonna have to do, actually. I'm just gonna do it that way and the chips will fall where they fall.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're two for two.
Yeah. That'd be good. By the way, there is a link in the chat, folks, for that for the qualifying round three. So qualifying round two is Monday, and then qualifying round three is the following Monday. There it is up on the screen. And there's still seats available, is my understanding. I don't know how many left. I mean, don't forget there's a maximum amount of folks. The first two, the first two qualifying rounds we sold out. The third one's going to be sold out. So if you're thinking about registering, give it a try. That link is right there in the chat, or just go to I think it's arena.ninjatrader.com, and you'll see all the things you need to do here. It's super easy. 400,000 in cash prizes.
It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit.
No kidding. Wow. In any
Enough
event,
to buy an hour to hang out with Jim.
you don't have to pay to hang out with me. Anybody can hang out with me. It's one of the things I'm really good at.
Yeah, Jim is if anyone ever gets the chance, you gotta hang out with Jim, man. It's awesome. It's good vibes. It's the vibes are immaculate. It's just good all around. It's good conversation. You know, he is what you think he is, man. He's the real boss around here.
I don't know about that, but love the company. Love talking about trading. That's the one thing is, it's literally, yeah, Dan, you're right. You meet me in Charleston anywhere, I'll get out. Martinis will definitely be on me, by the way. Uh, but that's the one thing about this that makes it so great. It's I'm a little bit older than most of the folks around here, and I'm always learning. ABL, always be learning, and it's something that has not stopped. That progress of insights and different approaches and innovation just never stops in this business. It's awesome.
Well, I've got news.
Uh-oh.
I've got news. Breaking news that
You have enough.
nobody has but me. I'm the only guy with this news. Not even backstage has this news right now.
You have another kid?
No, Nick is out. So you guys will have to be talking to me for 90 minutes and just to me.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nick's PC it might be on fire right now.
I don't know.
It's actually literally on fire. So it'll just be me. You guys get to hang out with me. Boo hoo. Cry about it. I'm gonna try to cover another one here and go down to 3 because they are taking forever to get through this. And yeah,
So let's talk about that. You have a time duration in mind, or is it just based on what you're seeing on the tape?
it's just the tape. Yeah, I that next take profit was not too far up, and I didn't want to risk it going all the way back without taking at least some more off.
Yeah.
Down to 3, it's pulling back now. It's like a gateway right here. And
Yeah.
if they can get through, we'll get paid a lot. If not, then we'll break even on the last 3 and try to keep everybody company for 90 minutes. I think we'll get some good opportunities for the rest of the day, though. It's looking pretty nice. Gold looks like it just went to bed. Full reversal, and now it's checked out.
On
So
gold, you
yeah.
mean? Yeah. I mean, we're only down 0.41% on this session, but I've been tracking that. If you go to the CME website, if you don't have it on your platform, you could see the daily open interest for each contract month. So it's not just aggregate. You can get the monthlies from the CFTC, but the CFTC has been closed since October 1st, so you don't get that COT data. But you get daily data. At the end of the day, it's end of the day data that tells you what the change of open interest is. And when you see a trend aligning up with a rally peak and a sell off, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the last 4 days, we've averaged about, and I'm going to eyeball this, 3,500 less positions. In other words, smaller open interest for the last 4 days in gold. But that means people are getting out of positions where they're not creating new positions, and it makes sense. I mean, it looks like the longs are getting out. They're getting short.
They're just unwinding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was gold. So that was a good kind of thing to look at. And for any trending market, I always recommend look at that open interest, get an idea of what's happening kind of from a institutional investor standpoint, longer term standpoint. And a lot of times it results in this price pressure that it's like, aha, I see what's happening here.
Hmm. Yeah,
Anyway,
you can see it through all the volume too. It's just supplies like flooding the market now. Everyone's just getting out.
Yeah.
Oops.
So I'm just pulling
It
up
is
an
what it
Nancy
is.
chart real quick.
I got to be a beneficiary of it, so I can't complain.
Yeah, that's the way to go. And we have that Edgeful stat that we pop up at the top of the screen now. It's the bias indicator, the sentiment indicator, based on four of their studies. They have some magic algorithm there, and boom. Oh, there it is up on the
Ooh, there it
screen.
is.
Ooh, a lot of red. A lot of red. That thing is like fixed in stone for the equities, I think, at 10:30 a.m. And we show it periodically throughout the show. So kind of helps with, what the math is. Understanding sentiment is kind of hard, but
Right.
they've done a good job. Edgefield's done a good job at kind of graphically figuring that out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a cool little widget right there.
Widget. Is
Widget.
it-
That's what they call it, right?
is that a thing, a widget?
It's a widget, yeah. Oh, they just killed my position.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what happens when you try to buy through something and it doesn't work.
Yeah, the session volume profile in Nasdaq. I'm looking at the big contract. It's like a rectangle. It's like long and skinny. It's
Yeah,
bizarre.
super thin. It's just all the way down.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that last liquidation tape we had 2 Fridays ago. Oh, this one right here, super thin. There's just
Yeah.
no bid that's like willing to just stay in front of price just yet.
And
But I do
weirdly,
think that if they can't trade under the 870s anymore, I will take a stab at longs. I'm leaning on this volume here, so if they can lock out everything under here, we'll try some longs, but we'll see. We'll see what the market gives us.
you're more optimistic than me.
It's a negative tape today. The tape is
Yeah.
someone's really mad or everyone's really mad. People are mad.
Yeah. But the weird thing about at least on my volume profile, the point of control, even though it's just that, I'll use the word, I'll quote Kane, a crap profile, um, is pretty much that point of control is at 24, 9, 10, right where we're at. So for some reason, there's this little spike there.
There's just a bunch of so earlier I was actually watching this on the way down. There were really big bids slipping into price around these ranges.
Yeah.
They were sneaking in like 100 lots. And so you're seeing these little spikes. It's like little thorns, right? This volume structure right here, distribution, has a lot of those guys who snuck the bid in, which is why we're seeing this. So if they can actually hold price above this volume under the 870s, we could see quite a bit of a move up. But who knows? That's always a thing, right? You do all this analysis and you just go, who knows?
Yeah. No,
That's
I
the
hear you,
game.
man. I hear you, man. I don't know. There's just been some wacky, Tracy just read the news and it was some wacky stuff
Mhm.
hit the tape. I think there was more Trump China wackiness too that hit the tape around 12:30.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Till 12:30 was Trump was saying how they want to no longer allocate stuff to China that has US components in them and stuff. It's always
Yeah.
something.
Exporter's going to love that one. Can't send that there.
Well, it's given
So
us opportunity, so it's
I'll
not
have
too
to
bad.
they'll have to
I
send
think
it
we'll
to
be able to get some
Singapore and
stuff.
get their buddies in Singapore to forward it on. Jim T's had the taco trade is on.
Taco trade. Oh. It's back on. We're back.
Yeah, Jimmy trading. Yeah, Jared's going to be with us at 4 o'clock, so you have about an hour and 5 minutes, something like that. But the other thing that struck me, I don't want to just, I don't want this to be the Jared Tendler show, but it should be because he's awesome. But the thing that struck me about him is he was super fun to be with too. I mean, he had a cocktail in his hand. He was joking. He was telling stories. He was engaging back and forth, and that was pretty fun. Oh, we just got along again.
Yeah, the cool thing is like with someone like that, you never really know like what their demeanor is really like. Outside of work, we'll say work. But he's super laid back, doesn't take himself like super seriously. He could joke around. He's like super just good vibes, really light to be around. You don't really have to feel like you can't just be yourself. He's
Yeah.
he can goof around for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, so you just got
He's got a
long
lot of
again, right?
jokes. I say that much.
Yeah. I know. I know. I know. You just got long again, right, bud?
I'm long in. Just two lots only right now. We're gonna see what they can do. It looks like they're holding against the selling pretty well. I would be willing to add if we can get some trading done above the 940s, 950s. But I'm gonna sit in these two for now. So
Yeah. I got it. I like it, man. I'm gonna be rooting for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, while you duck out, dip out. What is it? Dip in the chat? Dip into the
I
chat?
don't know. I mean, you say dip out or slide into the DM or I don't know. I don't know what the nomenclature is here. I'm going to be in the chat.
That's how I would say it. I'm just be in the chat.
Yeah, Cooper's in here. Good to see you, Cooper. Fractal. Good to see you, Fractal. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for the thumbs up throughout the day. Thank you for the subscriptions. And most importantly, thank you for being such a cool chat. I mean, and across the board, everyone listening to us, whether you're in the chat or not, everyone is really helpful to each other. I get great emails from people. And it's a unique community of traders. So thank you for being so cool, everybody.
Yeah, chat's always chill.
All right, my friend. Well, I hate to leave you solo. I don't see Nick anywhere in sight yet, but he'll figure it out, I
He's not
think.
having a good time, but I don't mind. I gotta put on my bullish hat because we're long, so just give me some time. We'll be all right.
How about that? Before I go, how about the NinjaTrader gear?
I know. It's nice.
Super nice.
It's nice. Yeah, when I walked into the room, Chris was like at the room next to me, and I walked in as the door's closing. All I said was like, "Oh shit, we got free shit." And Chris was like, "Huh?" Then he texted me out. She said, "Oh damn, it's nice. It is nice. It's nice stuff. Not gonna lie."
How about the giant cookie?
The Naples cookie. Do you know
Yeah.
who made those?
No.
They're elaborate.
Yeah.
They are very elaborate.
Well, Shab behind the scenes, she did an awful lot of stuff to make this thing as awesome as it was, and Sav was right there with her. So
Aramis, I appreciate that. I'm looking at this little widget.
awesome.
I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll make some more money.
No swag shop yet. Hopefully there'll be one soon. So in any event, XY, good catching up with you. Good talking to you. Thank you for doing double duty today. I will be back toward the end, and best of luck on this trade. Hopefully this thing rallies like 5 million points.
Hope so. Hope so.
All right, man. I'll talk to
See you
you.
in the chat. All right, guys. So we've just added one up here. I'm looking to see if they can sustain this trade. We'll put on one more. Risk some profits unrealized. Looks like they're really chewing through this offer, but all right. They're stepping up on the tape. We'll try it. I'm not going to give this too much room. I want to see this thing just like take right off. We're going to tighten up the risk. This risk right now is before the idea is invalidated, but my idea is we move and we move now. If it comes to grab me, it means we're not moving now and I want out, and I'm totally fine with that. It's just the way I do things. We're seeing a lot of pressure bid side. They're trying to step up on this tape here. If they can get it going, we'll fly. There it is. Sorry, guys. I'm like staring at the tape right now. So if not, I want out. It's just the way I do it. So we're getting 100 lots refreshing at the 53s. Don't know if the market's willing to step up with that, but I'm going to leave my risk right here. Super tight, but I'm playing with momentum right now. If it tags me out, there's always another opportunity. Let's set some limits. To one here. All right, we are going really nice on the 15-minute too, right here. 1 hour looks pretty good. We're gonna close that in a minute. Hopefully they just go and they don't retrace it after the close. Just grab me a TP. Still a bit of offer on the tape here. So the bid's really hoppy right now. They're supportive. They're coming up to higher prices. So as long as this continues, we'll be holding on to this. I think if I see an offer that's pressing downwards, I'm going to start legging out. But until then, this is a really jumpy bid. Really, really jumpy. 43 lots. They're not chewing through it just yet. Holding tight. Not taking anything off yet. Okay, they tapered a little bit right there. I'm gonna grab one. If they'll fill me. I'm negotiating with the market right now for a fill. 50 lots at the 62 now. Yep. 30 lots there. Now they're chasing us. It came right in front of my fill. It's unfortunate, but pulled the 30. Bid still really jumpy. Huge offer coming through now. Oh, took me out. That was a good shot. Yeah, they came came right in front of my TP. There's a chance that they're just gonna come back and push this through again, but that was our chance. They just did it in the worst way. More NT live swag, please. Dude, they gave us some nice stuff, I'm not gonna lie. Rancid Cracker. A jumpy bid is when price is moving up the ladder, but they're willing to move up with it. To me, that's what jumpy is. Um, or if we're coming down on the ladder and there's a bid that's just refreshing the same prices over and over and over. News on the spike, maybe. I don't know. We were close. I think we were floating like 3K up there. It happens. Almost got some off. But the plan is for hires, so you got to do what you got to do. I might get some more in here. Just watching this tape. All right, we're gonna slowly leg into this thing. I'm gonna give this some room. We're back in 3. Short leash on this. If they start failing this here, I'm gonna take this right off wherever price is. So we've got a really good 1 hour candle. The candle retraced. I'm adding up to 4. Again, still super tight leash. Gonna tighten up the risk here. And see if now they want to stop messing around and move up. Sorry, chat. I'm gonna try to manage this trade for now and see what's up. Going for further targets because this should be a pretty good move back up and through things. But Got my hotkeys ready in case I need to flatten something or take some size off. Just depending. So as long as the bid is willing to refresh in these 50s, I'm still holding it. So they're doing so right now. Tape is pretty good on the buy side. Volume's building higher, not lower. That little poke down that took out my stops break even was unfortunate, but you got to live with it. It's good continuation everywhere. They're making it tough, honestly. This 1 hour looks really nice right here, too. Hopefully, we're right on the timing. I'm very confident it'll go up. Question is the timing on my trade here. I might have to look for better prices. See what they do. So when I say that, it means I'm willing to cut this thing and get better prices down low if they start to go lower. But our timing might have been perfect. We'll see. So I'm watching the tape, keeping an eye on when the next notable size will flash on the tape. So we've got 50 lots, 68 again. See if they fill. They're chewing through it slowly. There it is. There's a fill. They're climbing up. Jumpy bid still. Hitting offers. Still willing to transact. Really strong. Still jumping. I'm not taking anything off. 50 lots, 77. So offer appears. They move away. If they move up towards that, I'm going to take one off. So they're moving towards it now. Taking one off at 57, 77. Down to 3. I'm making sure I'm taking my profits this time. Still jumpy, 79, 50 lot. Same old, same old. What are they going to do? Pretty good bid. I'll take another one there. We'll move this up. Take another one right before 25 even. So we're just moving up with price right now, guys. My long entry average right now is not where I would prefer it. Obviously, we had really good longs down here and they spiked it to take us break even. Right now, these are not as protected. I'm playing with momentum. So you can see how I'm just like straight up staring at the DOM. I'm keeping an eye on the momentum in real time. 40 lots chewed through. It's good. 91, 71 lots. We will see what they do there. I'm going to keep an eye on this one contract here. But I think that volume is a little magnetic at 25 even. So sorry, chat. I can't see a thing right now. I'm just staring at this tape. Everything looks good. It was a really good 1 hour close right here too. Super nice. We're on the right side. That wick down took us originally break even, but hey, fuck it, whatever. We're making money. All right, so all right, we're down to 1. We're holding this. That was a little harder than it needed to be, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I had good longs from everywhere. Just market was doing things in the worst way. Hey, I got a soundbite. All right. NinjaTrader Orange. Yeah, it's nice. Honestly, the gear we got is super nice. The news nailed me. Maybe. I don't know what that was, yeah, but I don't know. We got our get back. We got our get back, that's for sure. Did I take any other trades other than this after the morning? No. After the stream, I just turned everything off. I made plenty in the morning, so came back around 11, um, around here. Got this long, super nice. I was just adding through it, and then it got into this, and I was just like getting new longs, and they were just doing everything in the worst way. Break even, break even, break even, and finally getting some movement, break even again, and now we're trying it again, and it's yep. So it's a hell of a day. It's a done for the week kind of day. But I've got stream tomorrow, close, and Friday morning is always really, really action packed. So hopefully we can sit in this runner for a while, but you never know anymore. And the access isn't the greatest. I'd like to be tucked under here for sure. So in this volume, there was a lot of sneaky bids, and that to me makes it so that I think that if we're going to keep going up, this is going to be where it continuously holds. So I would like to be positioned in here, but the market had other plans for me. So hey Shab, good afternoon. Shab, you guys still in Naples? Where'd you guys go home? Appreciate it, chat. Average of 26. Oh, you're down low. Yeah, nice entry, man. Does Heiken actually play a part in execution? Sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes. Yeah, like seeing it change colors could be an indication of something, and because it's all momentum based, right? And the reason I have it is because it's clean. It doesn't just like give all kinds of candle patterns and this because it's just a 1 minute. And yeah, you can definitely use Heiken to your advantage, just like on a simple color change or like wicks, looking at the wicks, the bodies, um, how elongated a candle is after a consolidation, things related to price action in that way, you can get a lot. Damn, Shab, so you were there for like a week and a half ish. Cali weather's nice. As soon as I got back, I was like, ooh, it's nice and dry. I dig it. Yeah, Mike. So yeah, I've had one mentee, my first and only, where I had him practice because he did have an issue with timing and jumping the gun and FOMO trading and not sticking to his plan, to hard code a system where he can only now enter if it's a different color. And it did well for him. So maybe for you it might help. Always do some testing, find out. Yeah, the vibes in Cali, the weather is super nice right now. Your second home is the worst to get to in Naples. Man, I hate it. How to analyze the large lots. So you mean passive orders sitting there? Yeah. I don't really I don't treat them as targets, really. I treat them as advertisements. When you're advertising X amount of size at a certain price, now I'm like, what does the market think about it? Like on the upside, right? If it's on the offer, is there enough demand to head towards it like a magnet? Because it's liquidity, right? You want liquidity. It's the market's one job. One job is to find liquidity so that both sides can trade. So if someone pops up with that kind of size, how does it react, right? Does it shy away from it? Does it run away from it? Does it get there? Does it actually fill? If it fills, right, say on the offer, it shows me that the buy side is willing to fill that offer. They are not afraid. They don't care. There is enough buy interest to fill an offer like that. And then what happens afterwards? Is there enough buy interest to continue through, right? Stuff like that. So it gives me all context into what's really going on behind the auction. Everything is an advertisement until it is filled. So some people might do this whole thing where they're on like Bookmap or something. It's like, oh, look at this huge thing. It's a magnet, it's liquidity. Like, it doesn't mean price is going to go there just because there's liquidity, right? There's got to be the right context. Everything is just an advertisement. They're advertising their inventory at X, Y, or Z prices. And how does the market react to that? Humidity, yeah, humidity wasn't like too bad. It wasn't the worst. I've been to Miami twice, and the first time was insane. It was like Southeast Asia. What's the site for my course? Paintingthetape.net, but it's not up yet. It's not available yet. They're working on the back end. And you can't get on my ass because it's free, so I will probably cut this around the view up. PE ratios, Panda Express ratios, yeah. I mean, they're always good. They're loading up the box. Um, yeah, that's my take on like big size. It is what it is. There's no like everyone kind of how do I put this without people showing up with pitchforks? There's a lot of order flow these days, right? For a time, everything was ICT. And now everyone wants to order flow this, order flow that. I'm tape. Look at me reading tape. Something tape. Um, order flow, buyers, sellers. It's a lot of these words that are very, very um enticing, right? Everyone's an order flow expert now. Whether it's this, that, book map, the DOM, the so and so, or just candles, and they call it order flow still for some reason. Everyone wants to make it seem like there's some secret sauce behind widely advertised size. There is nothing secret about widely advertised size and inventory. But there's this, oh, like we spot it because we can peek under the hood because order flow is like you peek under the hood and you see it all and everyone else is blind. That's not really what it is. It's just liquidity, right? If the market sees liquidity, it doesn't mean that, okay, we have to transact here. That's not a thing. They're cherry-picked examples. So you don't always have to lean on like big size as if there's something that people know that you don't. It's as simple as an institution got a call from a client says, hey, I need like 5,000 NQ filled today, sell side or something. And that's just their job. They got to fill the best prices that they can. They're going to do what they can. Um, Everything else is up to the market interest. Is there enough demand? Is there enough supply? So and so. The real size factor is when you see it filled, which is the order is not sitting there. The order is now filled, right? The order is now filled. That means there's no spoofing. Some people will say order flow is so useless because everyone spoofs everywhere. Well, then wait for the fill. Just because I see 100 lots doesn't mean I really care that much about it, unless price is getting closer to it. Now it might matter. Now are they going to fill? Are they going to pull it? Well, if they fill it, now you've got more information, right? And a lot of times they'll iceberg the order. They'll slip the size in slowly. They'll reload the offer, reload the bid, and next thing you know, there's like a built-up delta and stuff. That is something to pay attention to, not just some guy that's like sitting somewhere with 300 lots all day doing nothing with it. So it's important not to get caught up in that noise, especially if you see it on YouTube and some guy just nailed a trade because someone showed up on the book and it happened to work this time around. There's no magic genie in a lamp scenario like that, right? Um, so I would say be very careful what you see in terms of order flow experts. There's a lot of order flow experts these days. Um, the ones who weren't so in the past, all of a sudden it's like, oh, everything, yeah, of course, order flow this, order flow that. Um, a long-winded way to say just don't be baited into advertised liquidity, right? Pay attention to what the market's doing right now, right? Don't try to predict what the market's going to do because someone showed up somewhere. It's what it's doing right now. If you want to be an order flow trader, that's very important. You cannot outsmart the market by doing like quantitative math and super mega calculus just because someone put some size somewhere. Yeah, right there. Order flow is becoming YouTube Furu buzzword. Yeah, because it's kind of like a validity, like a point of validity. Like, oh, you can trust me as a mentor in this because order flow. I know it, I understand it, and here is some order flow right now. And they'll hindsight the trades and be like, look, see, a lot of buyers, and that's why I bought, and that's why I'm the man because whatever. The fact is, order flow is super noisy. It's really difficult to navigate, and it has to be very matter of factly. That's how I approach it, at least. There's no secret like I don't know, backdoor trap card tricks with order flow that it just makes no sense. You try to make it really like, ooh, spooky, polarizing. Trust me, you need my education to navigate order flow. It's literally just an auction, right? Anyone that can give you here is my I'm going on a rant. I know that's what I do though. A good indicator of someone's, we'll call it order flow related aptitude, is how good their grasp on auction market theory is because to really utilize order flow, you've got to have a strong grasp on auction market theory. If someone's showing you a bunch of order flow stuff and the trades they took because of look at this order flow, look at that order flow, but they can't truly explain auction market theory in a very simplistic way, they're just giving you hindsight stuff. Um, and it's not really actionable, right? Auction market theory is what drives it. And auction market theory gives little care to who's got 500 lots sitting like 10 ATRs above a daily ATR, right? Forget it. Anyways, it's another rant. You guys know I go on rants. If there's no one next to me to cut me off, I'm just gonna go on rants. I don't even remember what the question even was anymore. So, all right, so there's gonna be a link popping up in the chat right now. It's for Jared's coaching session. Make sure you guys click on it. They just let me know backstage. Keep your eyes peeled. It's in the chat right there. If anyone can see it. I highly advise you guys check it out also, by the way, and it's free. Things like this should not really be free, but NinjaTrader's got deep pockets, so you can take advantage of it. Wit says, I thought only footprints were order flow. No, order flow is everything. Anything that tracks the tape is order flow, but it has to be based on order flow, not just like some guys saying, I'm doing a tape reading session and it's just straight up candles. You can absolutely create edge with mass and quant stuff. Absolutely. That's why they make the big bucks. Yes. Quants are the creme de la creme of the space. I do agree. Discretionary traders versus quant? Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know everything about that space. There's a lot of LARPers on Twitter who might tell you that, but yeah, I think there will always be room for discretionary traders versus just quants and algos. Yeah, for sure. Brad says, love painting the tape. Great job, really awesome. Yeah, we're glad. I mean, it's really not easy to pump that content out, right? We're scheduling a time where we can all rant and we go on our talks, and then Stowe puts like a hell of an effort to really master it, piece it together and edit and all that stuff. There's a lot that goes into it. So, okay, so I think chat kind of misconstrued about what I said about quants. I don't think quants are low value at all. Um, Quants are the creme de la creme. I think anyone with access to a quant in any capacity has a substantial leg up on things. Yes, absolutely. How am I feeling today? Better. Still sick, but better. Today might be the flu game. I don't know if Rack City's still in the chat, but we got flu game going on today. Going to the swing highs and lows. Fine. Yeah, Johnny, that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's always going to be some footprint. And it's like the thumbnail is how I made $35,000 in ES today. And it's a swing low. And it's, I don't know, it could be whatever it is on the footprint. And there it is. I'm an order flow expert now. And you'll realize, like, you go back a little bit, even just a year, these guys had no idea what order flow even was. They're just trading candles and this or other concepts. And now all of a sudden, order flow is everything. It's everything. Trust me, buy my course. But it's not super executional. With painting the tape, like with me, Stone, Nick, and Leo, we've always wanted to be very execution focused in everything. Execution focused. Because people don't really talk about execution, because then you have to talk about risk. That means you have to talk about being wrong. But not just be like, oh yeah, everyone has red days. I have red days. I took a red day. No, no, you got to show what you did, what happened, when your strategy can be wrong, and this and that, and so and so, and yeah, execution. Everyone has gone to the point where they're willing to talk about it now, but who's going to show it, right? It's hindsight. Like, check out my level, and it's order fills. It's just order fills. No real time. Like, this is how I managed it. This is how I got in. This is when I was going to peel it off, or this is when I messed up peeling it off, or I took a stop too early. It's just static order fills. So yeah, I know I'm ranting again. It is what it is. Vibe traders rule, quant traders rule. Yeah. Maybe my name's Fred. Maybe not. 99.9% chance my name is not Fred. Yeah, Georgios, that's very true about quants, right? I mean, that's why they get paid the big bucks because they can always navigate around the market, make updates to the models, be more up to date. It's like that kind of stuff is crazy. It's so crazy. Aramis. Do I have a trade journal? No, not anymore. I was never good at journaling, even during the early days. I did journal. Don't get me wrong, you have to journal. But I was never like as good as some of these other people are. And I tapered off on my journaling a lot sooner than you should. And I will tell everyone I'm trying to give advice to. Journaling is a do as I say, not as I do thing. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say, "Oh yeah, journaling's so important. That's why I do this and this and this." I'm pretty bad about it. Um, and it's you should do it. And just because I'm telling you to do it and I don't do it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, right? Just don't do what I'm doing, but do as I say. Journaling's good. No chance at being a quant without journaling. Yeah. What about Jade? Jade's Chinese. He's not even Vietnamese. Your gold exit was still the bottom. I know. Honestly, what an exit, man. I wanted the overnight low, like right above it to front run it, but this is the swing low. So seeing them trade this, they built this, and as soon as they left it, they kind of like started trading above this attempt lower. I was like, this is good enough for me. It's a swing low. So the exit wasn't me being a crystal ball super genie knowing this was going to be the low. It was more of like, I'm so close to the target already. I might as well just take it because it is a swing low. And I got lucky. That gold short was awesome. Yes. First gold trade since 2 years ago. Yeah, TradeZella is like legit. It looks really good. Um, I got two buddies, like, real life buddies. They use TradeZella. They love it. They've done really cool stuff with it too. AI will replace traders in 3 to 5 years, said by the recent guest on Words of Wisdom podcast. What do I think about that statement? Not much. I don't think much about it because I don't think it will be a thing. Maybe it will fill some more seats, possible. But to completely replace traders, I don't know. I don't know. Anything related to that is like purely speculative too. So I don't think so. But the reason I don't think much of it also is it has nothing to do with us. This is for institutional level books, right? If they decide we don't want any more traders, it doesn't affect our trading. We're just going to be trading against the algos. Or well, I'll say trading with, alongside algos. This whole market is one big thing and we're just in it doing what we do. But our job is still secure, right? If your job is a desk trader, maybe not as secure. But we're just retail traders. And there's this huge edge in that people don't take advantage of. It's the fact that we can sit here and do nothing. These guys have to constantly be extracting alpha every minute. We can sit here and just not take a trade. That's huge. We could be flat for as long as we want, as long as the market sucks. We don't have to be extracting alpha. It's huge. So whether or not that's true, it has no my take is it has no bearing on what we are doing here for ourselves, and it should be all right. Asked earlier, but you're watching tape. You're trading prop with 150K accounts. What sizing do you use? Depends on volatility. Sometimes I'll use too many. Sometimes I'll use three. Sometimes I'll use four. Sometimes, like in March and April, I was using purely micros. I never went above 15 micros. And I would start with like 6, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 during February, March. So it really depends. And I made a lot in February, March. 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, withdrew 70,000 trading micros, very small micros on 150Ks, less than 2 weeks. And that's after a 20% split. So do not underestimate micros. For anyone that doesn't believe that statement, it's probably on my Twitter still. And I was in an ad on that particular prop on Instagram. So it's all there. You'll see my first name on there if you want to dox me. Crude is ripping. Oh, I don't have a crude chart up right now, but 70K with micros. Yep. On 150K accounts. Never more than 15 micros on a trade. So this should be taken into consideration. 70K out after split and having to build a 4,500 buffer first. So all in total, I don't know what that P&L is, but it's 4,500 threshold. Everything above is able to be withdrawn at a 20% split, and then you end with 70. So whatever that math is that math. But it was all micros. So for anyone thinking micros is a waste of time, remember that. Do I trade live or prop? These days it's just cash. Whatever you see on NT Live is cash. Maybe I'll start trading prop on this thing. Honestly, the last few months have been really big for me, and the holidays are coming up. Usually I wind down my trading pretty significantly. This week's been pretty good. I'm going to leave to Japan next week, Friday. So I think coming back, I might just stream prop. I might just either shut down just trading live for the year, my cash, or just use it for swings. And then you guys could just follow me on a prop journey, I guess. I don't know. Maybe next week, maybe starting next week. I don't know. We'll see. But it really doesn't matter. It's the same. I want to become a trader like you. As a young trader, you're very inspirational. It's a lot of pain, Nathan. I've done all the dumb stuff. I got buddies, and we've been friends for like it's gonna be like 20 years. Very deep-rooted friendships, and they're trading too. And obviously, they have access to me in full capacity, 24 hours. We're very, very close friends. And there was a time where they would always be, oh, I did something so stupid, I'm so dumb, and they'd tell me what they did, and I'm like, you think this is bad? I've done this 20 times worse and 20 times over. Like, I would always have to say, don't be so harsh on yourself. You understand what you did. You have to move on. Um, and you have to give yourself time to make the mistakes. And they're always gonna be like, "Oh, this is the last time I do this." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I heard that one before. Sure, whatever." Because we always say it, right? This is the last time I'm gonna do this. Last time I'm trading FOMC. The last time I'm catching knives. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, sure." Anyways, next time you do it, be patient with yourself, right? Understand that we've all done the dumbest things and probably will continue to do so, except as you go, you're better at managing it, cutting it off sooner than later and stuff like that. I think I might start. Nah, I'll leave this here. I think this thing's got real legs. Uh, I'm just like ranting like crazy today. Nick's not here to stop me. Don't want to oversize. Yeah. So the thing about prop is you can get tripped up on the rules a lot. Minimum days, this and this consistency with cash. There are no rules. You get what you get. You eat what you kill. You can withdraw. You can this. You can that. A lot of times with prop, you're gonna bait yourself into trading conditions that you know you really shouldn't be trading because it could be a profit target to withdraw. It could be a threshold you have to hit to start withdrawing. It could be a minimum day requirement. All these things can force you into trades. But I always tell my buddies, like, what's the hurry, right? Always think about it. You're trying to navigate really rough terrain, but for what? Like, what's the hurry of trying to make all these profits? Well, we all know what it is. It's that subconscious, like, oh, there's a target, there's a this, there's a that. But when you trade cash, it doesn't exist. What's the hurry? Market's doing absolutely nothing. What's the hurry? Just let them do nothing, right? Let them figure it out first. When the market's doing nothing, it's chopping, it's consolidating. It's like a knife fight. Why jump into the knife fight? Just let them figure it out. Like, let them have all that. When the market finally breaks, when it does this or that, makes a decision, you can make your decision. And there's a whole long thing. There's a section on that in the playbook, and I hope it resonates because it keeps me in line on sides and not off sides. How is my strategy different with micro versus mini? Nothing, nothing at all. I mean, in February and March, I was running like 30-point stops. At some point, it was like close to 40, right? So it's the same thing, just different ranges. And when the range is super wide, I mean, you'd be crazy to put like one lot mini on a 150K account, right? So is my NT8 lagging? No, it's not. Zolino, orderflowlabs.com for the free indicators. Bad habits are hard to break. Absolutely. In all aspects, not just trading. Yes. Custom. Yes, all custom. Some free, some not. Orderflowlabs.com. Get you sorted. Did my friends overcome the learning curve, make consistent good trades? They're on their way. Some quicker than others, depending on what strategy and stuff. And I always tell them like, you don't have to trade like me. There's no reason to. You trade however it works for you. What speaks to you, right? What strategy, what style, and I'll try to help them along the way. What size do I think is best on a 50? I think the easiest answer in a vacuum to these questions is whatever size makes it so that intraday drawdown does not matter. That is the most sensible size. That is the answer. Micros versus mini, we're scaling at smaller sizes. In scale, same thing, just smaller overall. So instead of scaling like one mini at a time on 4 minis, if I'm in like 12 micros, I'll do like 3, 3, and 3, and 3. Yeah. What am I seeing that has you long? Well, this down here, this failed attempt after a sweep and a pretty good bid, this said a lot. So I started trying to get long because now they're holding higher. They're kind of rounding out. They're losing steam on the downside because the upside is reclaiming areas of old supply. Auction market theory stuff too. So yeah. What size my stop right now? It's break even. My stop is at break even. Now it's at break even. Yeah, there's a lot of questions, which is cool because I'm not doing anything but sitting in a runner that I'm going to trail very aggressively now. So I'm not trying to get back too much as I'm so close to a target. We're about 100 points in. Is there anything in order flow that I see that keeps me going? I'm not looking at the tape on this move up. I'm just looking at where the market isn't going anymore. It's not going lower. As we're coming up, we're building new volume. There's no willingness to transact lower. Every time price moves lower, it's empty. So they're reclaiming all these old nodes where supply was. If you look at the move down, this is where supply hit the market to push it down. But now we're going through that supply. And as we're going to continue to go through the supply and not the other way around, no thanks. Do I rely on Delta Map at all? I don't have Delta Map on the bars, actually, as you can see. Um, I'm very like I know what I like to see on the tape, and I look at the tape my own way, and it's good enough for me. So this is likely gonna take me out right here on the runner, but we got what we wanted. To move towards view up. Yeah. The thing about these alpha indicators is it helps you expedite the learning curve of your own tape reading for sure, because as you get used to like how certain tools are prone to start printing, you start to notice it on your DOM too, on your footprint. You're like, oh, this is probably gonna fire off right now. And it's like a reverse engineering effect on your learning curve for order flow. Meaning stop loss size? Oh, I don't know. It varies. Today we got anywhere from I think 10 points to up to 12. At some point I had a 17-point stop. That was a two lot trade. Yeah, it just depends. Depends on the range. 100 pointers left and right. Yeah, I mean the market's giving good range. I can't complain about that for sure. What's my trailing process? Leg to leg. But when it gets really close to where I'm going to take off anyway, it's going to be bar by bar. I'm going to trail the bases of each Heikin-Ashi bar 1 minute. Is my daily loss limit larger than average winning day? Yes, it was originally. Yep. Um, lately the winning days have been pretty big compared. But yeah, that was kind of something I touched on at some point where my day loss limit was close to 2x my average green day. And it was the thing that just worked best for me for some reason. As someone who mostly gets green days, my red days could be really, really nasty. Really, really, really nasty. So obviously you have to get a lid on it. And I find that a lot of times if I'm red equal to my average green day, there's a good chance it's still going to end up as a green day. A little bit more room can go a long way for me. Why? Because when it's as tight as an average green day, now there's a fear component that settles into my trading and my executing. As I get close to that point, a lot of fear comes in and it's hard to really execute how I should. So I loosen up that leash so that even to that point, I'm executing as if, hey, look, I still got room. I'm gonna do things how I do things. And it keeps me on track, right? So it's a mental thing. I know a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, it doesn't make any sense. Your loss limit should be like less than your winning day, whatever." There's a lot of things that I do that people say not to do, and it's going to be in the playbook, but it's just what works for me. So my loss limit is bigger. It's bigger than my average green day for sure. About 2x. It's to give me that room. Does a red day mean I hit day loss limit? No. If I'm already feeling like the market doesn't agree with what I think at all, I'm probably just going to get off the chart. Hope that makes sense. William Dyer. Very generic question. Everyone asks. Everyone has different tolerances, though. So in a vacuum, I would say $1,000 for every micro, $10,000 for every mini. Do I use support, resistance, or levels? Some form of support. I think everyone does. I think people only don't want people stray away from calling levels support and resistance because they're trying to sell you something. I think because that's all everything ever is, support and resistance. They want to call it some mumbo jumbo, this and that. They're probably trying to sell you something. When you look to enter the trade long, what do you want to see in the chart to make the entry? Raja P, I look at order flow. I'm looking at orders. So it's not really based on the candles on the chart. All that big bid size on ES left. Yeah, they're moving in tandem, both of them now. What's my annual percentage look like? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, don't pay attention to that, man. I think the best approach for me has always been just show up, you do what I do, and don't worry so much about all the other stuff. Currently my leg to leg is set for 50 points. 50-point rotation will reset it. I change it as range and volatility changes, rotations. Can you register as an affiliate for my playbook? I don't know how you can get affiliate commissions for something that's free, but if you can figure that out, let me know. Yeah, it's easier to risk manage on futures because it's tick by tick. No Greeks, stuff like that. What all do I consider to be order flow? Anything that's based on the tape in a way of orders. It could be down to CVD, cumulative delta. It could be a footprint. It could be this tape reader here. Obviously, the time and sales. This delta by price. Volume profile, definitely. Um, anything you might see on the DOM, a ladder. I think that's order flow. Yeah. Anything that's tracking the orders on the book, not where price is going. So candles, price, action. Where is price going? Where is it not? For anyone wondering about the playbook, I think the easiest solution is just follow me on X for now. If they can throw a link in there, just follow me on X. When the playbook is out, you will see where it is, what it is, when it is. So follow me and then follow Painting the Tape on X. How do I track results and know if all this is worth doing? I did it on my own in the beginning. You got to track that for sure. And as I found my stride and there was like this consistency and it was just day in, day out consistency. Um, yeah, I just stopped journaling. Advised? No, but it's me being lazy, to be honest. Um, so long as the outcome is income, we are good to go. And that is what it is. If I can only pick one thing to use in order flow, what would that be? Easily the volume profile. Easily. You see it everywhere. Here, high time frame, rolling and day by day. Look at the footprint in my playbook. You'll see volume profile there. Volume is everything for me. That's where I find the players. Do I put a good amount of weight on time and sales for entry decisions? Absolutely. But there are just so many ways to look at it now, right? You've got Delta, or you can use a tape reader, or on the DOM, I can see the orders too. So yeah, I do have a tape with the DOM time and sales. It is very important. I would say so. But there are a million ways to gauge order flow. All X profiles. Oh, thanks for that, Aramis. Appreciate it. 2020 Supro. Future is 2021. Turn the corner, probably 2 years after.
Attention traders, it's algo time.
Doodly Muckily. I don't know what that name is, but yeah, during that February, March, it was just micros. Built everything. Every single profit was micros. Yep. This time around, it'd be different. I mean, it's not as crazy as February, March, right? Maybe we'll trade some together on next week's streams or when I come back from Japan or something like that. Because, yeah, I'll probably wind down on this cash account now. It's the end of the year, it's holidays. And I've got these accounts just sitting there, these props. For when I'm in Japan, I'm going to do some Asia London trading. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested, we'll work on those together on live stream, like everything, live stream. How can I get a one-on-one with you? I don't know. A small sum of $500,000 or something. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I had a mentee a few months ago, my first, and it was my last. I found that it's very hard to put a price that someone is willing and able to pay, and that I deem worth it for the time that I'm going to put in to one-on-one mentorships and stuff like that. So it's a balance that's hard to get. Maybe one day I'll sell a Discord. Who knows? At least I'm not selling a course. So you guys got that for free. An entire meltdown of my brain, all for you to see for free. So if I ever sell a Discord, don't get on my ass about it. Just don't buy it. Xyzeee, your YouTube videos are fire. Wish you had more. Yeah. What's out there right now is still out there. I'm making more, and I've made more, two more for painting the tape. We just haven't been able to put those out yet because of the website. But when my playbook is out, two recap videos will also be out in the same format that I make it on my YouTube. So hanging out at Panda Express, hoping to ask XYZ some dumb questions. Yeah, everyone's been waiting for the playbook. I know, I know. I think it should be soon. I hope it's soon, so no more when playbook questions. But one-on-one friendship, absolutely not. Those books are closed. YouTube University. Yep, absolutely. So I'm getting mad tags from a Henry. I don't know why. Good afternoon, Henry. Will Playbook have audio of me explaining or only text? It's all text with screenshot examples and videos related to the DOM. And I wanted to do it that way because it's a whole fractal thing. The playbook from top to bottom is entirely fractal. And there will be times where you're going to have to reference the previous section or the previous sections. So you might want to go back and forth. And I don't want to do that on a video format where it's like you got to skip through the videos and stuff. You could just scroll and see everything. But moving forward, yes, I will do video-based stuff, content for painting the tape. Yeah. Go Mavs? No, Dan. No, I'm excited. About 5 hours. You can see me some Wemby. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. It was just me today. Nick's computer literally caught fire or something. At least we got some trades off, made some money. That's all you can ask for, really. Please hit the likes if you haven't. I haven't asked for likes yet. And so this is me doing so now. Hit the subs if you haven't yet. If any of this was helpful in any capacity. Yeah. And do stick around. You guys get free Jared Tendler. Should be pay-per-view, honestly, but I don't know. Ninja's got really deep pockets. They just giving away free shit these days. The only thing that could edge out a course is if it is part of a package with mentorship from someone good, which is exceedingly rare. Yeah, I think everyone does courses with mentorships, or a lot of people do. I don't know how good they are, but I think that's a thing. And they're usually pretty expensive. White noise. It varies. Today, as I was getting the longs from the DOM, I was staring at the DOM. I did not even see chat. If you rewind it to that moment, I'm just like, sorry, chat, I can't even look at you right now. I'm just watching the bid on the DOM and I'm making sure the bid's still jumpy. It's still jumpy before I'm taking anything off and stuff like that. I'm even adding on to the long. It really depends what the trade is, the idea, the setup, how urgent things need to be. If I'm getting in with momentum, it's got to happen or I'm going to get out, right? Um, that matters. If I'm getting in on a place where it's holding and I have another target and it's just not based off of immediate momentum, then you could be a little more lax about it. Jumpy as they're lifting the offer and they're refilling the bids at the same spot at the same time. They're willing to step up on the ladder with price, as opposed to, hey, I only want to fill out these prices, and they're not willing to push the market. To me, that's a jumpy bid. Supro, thanks for being here, man. Yeah, hit the likes, guys. If you haven't, please do. It helps everybody out.
XY.
Hey, you've got a hat on now. It's a
Dude,
nice hat.
I just wanted to show off some of the swag. I know I was all dressed up earlier.
Jim showing off again, like when he was like, "Oh yeah, when I wear my Beats headphones." He couldn't just say headphones. It's like, yeah, when I got my Beats by Dre headphones on.
Beats by Dr. Dre, man.
Oh yeah, we know. You don't have to flex on us that
That's
hard.
not- I don't have the gold plated ones though.
Yeah, they're not worth it.
Man, oh man. Nice trade, man. End of day.
Appreciate it, appreciate it. Yeah, it worked out in my favor. Really
That is
nice.
sweet, man. I'm gonna order the filet mignon.
It's a sushi kind of night. Yeah, this is my flu. This is my Michael Jordan flu game today. I made plenty money, and I'm sick. Rack City Market, the XYZ flu game. Live on stream. It is live, documented on stream. No one telling me shit.
Awesome, man. When you come out, when are we going to be with you again? What day is it? This is Wednesday, right?
This
Could
Wednesday.
you believe it's
You
Wednesday
guys got
already?
me working literally all week because I'm back on for trade to close tomorrow because Stowe is going to be busy.
Gotcha.
And then Friday in the morning with Pax and Stowe.
Got it. That'll be fun. Yeah, I'm looking. Fridays are my best day. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Fridays used to be my worst day, right? It's like you're tired. You want the weekend to start. Martini o'clock is early on a Friday. But man, Pax just kind of he just lit a match.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till Friday mornings.
Fridays are the best. Yeah, I'm willing to wake up for Fridays because PAX sets it off like just it's as soon as I get to desk, it's already action packed. He's screaming.
Yeah.
He's screaming at the Dom. He's calling the buyers and sellers all sorts of names. You just got to get in on the action.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, we're not done today even. I mean, we've got some work to do today. I mean, Jared Tendler is with us for a retail therapy session. He's done it before. It's so much fun and it's very, very insightful, man. So, and we're going to bring this guy in a second and we're going to talk about it. But, it just gets better and better, man, around here. Chad, thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the subscriptions. We greatly appreciate that. Everyone's super cool. We got to get the swag store going, and we'll do that. We'll do that.
Appreciate you, chat. Thank you, chat.
Let's get Jared in right now. Here he is. Jared, good afternoon.
Gentlemen, it's good to see you again.
Ooh. Good afternoon, Jared.
XY. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. It feels so tantalizingly close to seeing you like we were over the weekend, man.
I
Oh, it
know.
was too much fun.
Yeah, and then you were
Jim,
telling me
you
how
too.
you're
Good to
a
see you. I'm wearing some swag. I got
Giants
some swag. I
fan.
got, just kind of
You got
sporting the institutional trader look today?
Maybe I'll do. Nah, no, I won't. No, I'm gonna
No.
wear a robe.
Dude,
But
you
you
were
guys,
rocking
check
what
this
you were
out.
wearing last time.
Check this out. In Naples, I was like, yeah, I'm an Eagles fan. He's like, I'm a Giants fan.
Both are painful right now.
Yeah, man.
Naples was awesome. It was really good meeting you,
Oh
honestly.
yeah, heck yeah, man. Absolutely. It was a great time, special people, special group.
Yeah.
Really a lot of
It
fun.
was it was great meeting you. I was a little nervous meeting you at first because I thought you were going to be
What, to
like,
psychoanalyze you?
no, super academic. I'm like, all right, this is our
Ah.
academic in the group. And you're the opposite, man. You were fun. You were partying. You were killing it on the golf course. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, what you see here is not always what you get in person. I try to be serious because I take this seriously, but yeah, I like to have fun too,
We
for
got
sure.
to watch Jared assert dominance onto Merritt for 2 days straight in every sport, arm wrestling all the way through.
Well, the arm wrestling, yeah, he was almost a
Merritt's like, bro,
D1 tennis
stop.
player, so
I
he's got me there. But the arm wrestling,
didn't
that was
know Merritt was on.
No, well, but they were one. I mean, they were like a level above everybody else. Both Jared and Merritt. So Merritt was no slouch in anything.
no, heck not. No, he's a good golfer. I mean, look, the four handicaps can get around. Just I gotta, I still have to give him 6 shots. So what are we gonna do?
Yeah, it was good though, man. It was a good time, perfect weather, great food. Dolly knows how to throw a party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does, and bring a good group of people together.
Very, very awesome. XYZ, thank you, brother. I know I'm going to see you a lot more this week, and I am totally looking forward to that, man. Thanks for your double duty today.
Oh yeah. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks, chat.
Yes,
Please
sir.
hit the
See you, man.
likes. See you guys later.
They made me put the swag on just now, dude. I couldn't resist.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to figure out what I was gonna wear, and when in Rome, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
So, Jared, retail therapy, the mental game of trading, you wrote that book. You are basically the head game coach, right? For golf, for poker, for trading. What a great combination of three things, right? These are all aligned, aren't they?
They really are, yeah, and it certainly attracts a lot of crazy people. So, I mean, it attracts a lot of people who are very serious, and when you do anything at a serious level, it's going to draw out some mental and emotional stuff that needs to get cleaned up. So,
Yeah.
we'll have a little bit of cleanup on aisle three with a couple people today, and yeah, hopefully it'll be insightful for those watching. I think a lot of times you can learn from kind of peering inside the mind of another trader and exposing some things that you're probably experiencing, but sometimes can be hard to articulate. Because when it's in your head, like it's not like you can physically see an injury, right? When you've got these things going on mentally and emotionally, they're kind of stuck here. It can be hard to explain, hard to really kind of put your hand on and to really be able to describe it clearly.
Would you say, so like for traders, from a trader's point of view, would you say a high percentage of the things that you experience, everybody experiences, and then a small percentage of stuff select people experience?
Yes, I think in general, the reason I've been able to go from poker to trading to golf, even to esports, I've worked with a radiologist, I work with lawyers, any
Hmm.
high performance people, we're people first. So, it's like kind of peering into the place with which you're competing, so to speak, and using that environment as feedback. Um, we generally experience all the same stuff. The language changes a little bit. And yes, then there are always sort of the uniqueness of people that make certain situations different and require a little bit more precision. But bottom line is we can kind of cover at least 80 to 90% of the vast majority of issues that people experience,
Yeah.
with a fairly clear system.
Yeah, and the one thing, and just going back to the meet and greet really quickly here, there was, meeting all the younger guys, right? All these guys who are trading, they're killing it. They all kind of have a different approach to trading. They're all not doing the exact same thing. They're all doing something a little bit different. And from what I could tell, they're all wildly successful. But they have that common core to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that to me, I think is one of the beautiful things about trading is that there's lots of ways to get it done. You look at the driving range before a PGA Tour event, you're not going to see any two swings that look exactly the same,
Mhm.
right? There's players can get it done in lots of different ways, and the same thing is true with traders. Um, but then at the end of the day, like there are some essential characteristics of what makes people successful, right? An insatiable curiosity, a love and passion for what you do,
Yeah.
right? If you have that, then you're going to be doing the little things, kind of before the market opens. You're going to get there a little bit earlier, not because you have to, not because you're supposed to, because you just want to. You just kind of can't wait to get there and dive into the markets to see what's going on today. And then the same with your strategy, right? There's this constant refinement. There's this like kind of thirst and hunger to be better and to find ways to continue to improve and level yourself up. And yeah, I think those are traits that are ubiquitous, and we certainly see it with the group of people that are here at NinjaTrader.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. So before I let you go, just the format, you're going to talk a little bit, and you have actual some real life traders behind the scenes that are going to pop on, ask you questions, and you're going to chat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, for today, I've got two. One is profitable, one is not, but, kind of knocking on the door. But, chat, like, stick around because you all can
All
get
right.
questions answered as well. So, at any point, post your questions in the chat, and I'll be reviewing them. There's a little bit of time between segments, and then certainly the last 10 to 15 minutes of our session today, I'll get to them. So, yeah, post your questions. We'll get to them there. And, yeah, this is kind of an unscripted look at, what a
Yeah.
coaching session looks like, and
Awesome.
you get a chance to really peer behind the scenes here.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to dip into the chat, and the mic is yours, and I'll be listening the whole time.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right. Well, first off, if you want to join me for the next retail therapy session, I saw a few have filled out already, right? Fill out the survey that is going to be posted in the chat. I'll be reviewing those in detail, and I'll bring you up here perhaps next time. And our first guest here today, Les, was one who filled out his survey questionnaire. So Les, good to see you, man. How are you?
Good to see you, Jared. How you
Awesome.
doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Listen, I know we had a brief little chat here last week just to kind of understand what exactly you want to work on, but we got to bring everybody else into the fold here. So if you could just kind of very briefly share a bit about your trading background and specifically what you're looking to work on today.
Sure. So I started trading back in 2019 futures. I went to a trading academy and I learned about futures and started trading. And by 2020, I blew that account up. I mean, it just did. I did pretty good for a while, and then I went back to just micros, trading micros, because micros came out about that time. So I went to micros because I got taken out due to they rose the margin, so I couldn't trade. I'd lost too much money. And so micros I started trading, and I did that for several years. Built the company. At 23, I went full time again to trade full time. That's when I found your book, and I read your book, and I did Mapped Fear, FOMO, Discipline, Focus. I did a lot better. I did that for a couple of weeks. I learned a lot about myself and my process. I read it multiple times, but the 2024, my daughter asked me to teach her some trading, so I started showing her what I knew, and then that's when I realized my process was missing, some areas I was missing. Took some more training, did some more educational on the internet with different groups, and got myself into profitable. Got a couple prop firm qualifications. Made some money. Had a pretty good year, 1 year, but I'm giving back my money. So, like right now, I'll make the money and then I'm giving back like 75% of it. I'm still making some money, but I'm giving back large chunks of my profit by trading the wrong time or the wrong entry, or sometimes I move my stop or whatever, and think I'm right and end up being wrong. And it's more of a trade management deal. Like I enter and then I need to be concentrated on other things, and I kind of forget a little bit sometimes on what the different things that you got to look at, because you got to change criteria once you enter. Your criteria for entering is a little different than when you're managing, and you got to switch your mindset. And sometimes I get like locked up there. I can't. I don't know. I just mismanage. If I could get the management right and let the trade work, I would do a lot better. That's kind of the problem I'm having is giving back my profits. I'm making the money. I'm just not keeping it.
Yep.
Not all of it. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, certainly a common one. I want to say at the outset, just for the chat and everybody watching right now, what Wes mentioned about having to kind of describe your trading strategy to your daughter. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier about how sometimes what the stuff kind of ends up, kind of stuck in your mind, whether it's mental and emotional or whether it's aspects of your strategy. When you're forced to say things out loud, it kind of changes the nature of it a little bit. I know for
Hmm.
myself, when I was writing the mental game of poker back in 2011, which took me a couple years to do, my ability as a coach skyrocketed quickly because I was forced to take what I was kind of doing intuitively, instinctively, kind of very unconsciously, and put it into a package that other people could follow. So, like if you're struggling with your trading strategy, I don't mean necessarily US, but others, force yourself to kind of write it down. Do kind of the 30-second elevator pitch, right? How do you make money? Can you explain it very simply? If you can't, then maybe come back and try to retool a little bit because it might help to expose some of those weak points. And I would argue, sometimes it is not a mental and emotional issue. Sometimes it is actually kind of holes in your strategy. But for you, Les, right now, it sounds like you're at a point where strategy's been cleaned up, and some of the execution, that kind of shift in mentality when you're in trades, the mismanagement that's occurring, is kind of spotlighted by some mental emotional stuff. So what do you think is kind of in there? Is there some FOMO, some greed, some overconfidence? Do you think it's a pure lack of discipline problem? Do you think it's some frustration or tilt? What do you think is in there that's causing that mismanagement?
Well, I do think that, patience. I know that patience is something that I don't really have. I've never really had very well, most of my life. So I know that that's something that I got to pay attention to. The discipline aspect of just waiting for my setup, because the market has a way of drawing you in sometimes, and it just sucks you in, and you're like, you don't know, dude, why did I do that? But I'm getting good at that. I just go right back at it. The trade, it's still there. The conditions are still there. You're just a little early or a little late. Um, like, like that's another thing right there. Like being late, just that's 5 points, 10 points late is late, and so then you're going to get stopped, in the next candle. And so it's getting that entry where sometimes I'm just not quick enough I don't process that information quick enough to enter because I'm entering live. I'm not, I got a kind of an idea I mean, I have an idea of my levels that I'm trading, but then I'm waiting for confirmation, with acceptance, rejection, or a close, or certain things I'm looking for, and then I might miss it, and then I chase it, and I
But
get
is
stopped
that
out.
what's causing those kind of big drops in profit, or is that just more of like kind of a precision thing that's, maybe would take your profitability a bit higher, but is not necessarily causing kind of the back end kind of bigger problems?
Yeah, it's over. Like I'll give back my profits trading. Like for instance, I'll talk about today. So today I shorted at 71.50, and it broke down. I was good. I'm in the trade. I moved to break even. It came back. It stopped me at 72. When it came back to 72.50, took me out. So then I didn't make any money on that trade. So then later on, I joined that short again, and I made that one. But then I stopped out in gold, and then I took a stop on a long in the afternoon and gave back my profit. So I was up good on 3 trades, stopped out on 2 and broke even. So that's kind of for today. That's what happened. I took 2 bad trades. I was just wrong on them. And
So the question is why? What was going on mentally, emotionally that would have kind of seduced you or allowed you to get into those trades?
just going for the money, I guess. I just took the trade. I'm trying to one of the things is, so as I'm back down, I'm trading micros. See, so like I'm trying to maintain the discipline to trade the micros exactly the way I'm going to trade the minis. And
Hmm.
the mini, and so this is what, because I'm trying to go to minis. I don't want to load my account for minis. If I can't manage micros, I don't need to load minis. So I'm trading hush. So I'm trading micros, and I'm sorry, someone's knocking on my door, so it's interrupting me. But and then so I take I take a little bit more risk with the micros, and I do things with the micros that I wouldn't necessarily do with the minis, and I know this. So then when I go to minis, I screw it back up, you know. This is some of the things I'm doing, you know, going because I'm trying to make. I see the see the $2,500 monthly profit, and I think 25,000, you know, and I'm that's just the truth, you know. I see the
Yeah.
money.
So some of this when we're dealing with issues with patience, some of it comes down to like an understanding of what it is that you're trying to build, right? And I think impatience can come when you're really about kind of building capital and building the account. And for you right now, the bigger priority needs to be building the precision in your execution. You know, and sometimes it feels like, oh, if I'm making money, that's reinforcing the fact that I'm doing the right things, where you're kind of putting the cart before the horse there, right? It's doing the right things, making money the right way is what builds the foundation for you to be able to scale up and know that you're not putting, you know, your trading at risk. Right? If I hand you $2 million, you know, or pump it into your account and you start trading, you know, the micros, like, or even just, you know, the regular NQ, like, then you're gonna really struggle to the pressure and
Right,
the intensity of that scale is gonna kind of press down on the weak points in your strategy, right?
right.
You probably have heard the old line, like, we don't rise to the level of our aspirations, we fall to the level of our training, right?
With
So
you.
your training right now is getting
Yes,
fractured because you're trying to make money, which makes sense, right? That this game is about money,
right,
but it's the infrastructure, it's the execution, the skill and execution. That is what is going to create the reliable sources of income going forward. And I think the impatience is maybe losing sight of that. I'm not saying that anything I've said is maybe rocket science or news to you,
uh-huh,
but from a training standpoint, you're just a bit kind of geared more towards the money than you are towards building the skill and competency as a seasoned trader
right,
who's capable of wielding an edge, wielding a profit margin, you know, over a long period of time.
right. Yeah, and I go like I don't know, a month, maybe two, you know, real consistent, you know, making good trades, good profit, and then I got it. I got it figured out. You know, I don't know how many times I've said I figured it out. You know, go tell my wife I figured it out, you know. And
So
then
I want to very quickly talk about that because it's one of the more common uh, flaws that produces overconfidence, right? So whenever you think that you've got it, your mind immediately becomes less sharp. Why? Because the brain is built for efficiency. It is not going to waste time and energy, focus, processing power on something that is believed to be guaranteed. And that's what you're implying when you feel that way. Now,
right,
ironically, right, this is something that exists in every aspect of performance, right? There are PGA Tour players right now who believe that they can find it, right, and their swing gets locked in, and to them in that moment, it feels like they can do no wrong, right, and never will miss a shot again. So here's the thing about that, like finding it flaw. Maybe this is spoiler alert for those. Maybe if you got, you know, kids under 12 years old hanging around right now, just put them out of the room. Um, but this is the adult version of believing in Santa Claus.
yeah,
Okay, you're
okay,
believing in magic. You
right,
think that it's possible that you can somehow solve trading.
yeah, I know, I
Now,
know,
intellectually, I know you're not smart enough to or dumb enough to believe that, but yet somehow these emotions hang around. Why? Because it is actually a dinosaur from our past, right? There's a small part of you, the part of you that believed when you were Santa Claus, when you were 6 years old, still believes it today and thinks that you can get to a point in your trading that that can happen. Now, here's the antidote. And the antidote is called the adult learning model. Okay. We're going through several stages of learning. And for those that are interested in this, you can, you know, do a quick Google search. For the sake of time, I'm only going to focus on two stages, right? The remaining two stages. It's called conscious competence. Okay. You reach a stage where you're become very competent. Over a month, you absolutely can become competent about what you're doing. You get in that great groove. Okay.
hmm
But here's the thing. You need to rely on higher brain function in order to create that level of competence. You have to think. You have to have energy. You got to have focus. Right? If you show up dog tired, right, you're going to go back to sucking again. If you
Right.
show up, having made a ton of money, maybe a bit overconfident, you're going to suck again. So you need to have that frontal brain, right? The part of the brain that is responsible for thinking, functioning properly. If it is not, you suck. The last stage, and this is where the real magic happens, right? The anti Santa Claus magic happens. You reach a stage called unconscious competence. Okay. And when you reach that stage, it is now hardwired into your brain, right? And there are aspects of your training, of your trading, Jesus, there are aspects of your trading that are in that category, right?
Right.
Things that you never have to think about again. And it could be basic or it could be more robust, doesn't matter. But reaching that level is where you have turned the ideas into hardwired training skills that cannot go away. Okay? And this is ultimately what you're after. And you cannot achieve that in 30 days. You can, make a long stride towards it. But I would argue that for where you're at right now, working through this sort of Santa Claus flaw, that you're going to take like 3 to 6 months
Okay.
of real, focused, disciplined, dedicated trading in order to train yourself well enough so that you can't revert to these, kind of more undisciplined styles of trading.
Yes. Yeah. I 100%. That's what I'm planning on doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as soon as you start to feel like, like you figured it out, call out the Santa Claus flaw. Like, nope, you haven't. It's too
Okay.
soon. And here's the thing. This is where you go to work harder on adhering because now you've got a part of your brain that's kind of, seducing you into thinking, all right, come on, Les, like you can take this trade. Like, no, like you got to like really burrow down, fight against it, call it out, and get the right reps, right? And
Okay.
and to me, that's kind of like being at the gym, right? Kind of pushing those through those last few reps where your muscles are burning and you want to just kind of give in and give up. But that's where the biggest value comes is pushing through those moments. You push through to get to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks. All of a sudden now you're working through day after day, burning, this sort of style into your brain more deeply. And that's where the real magic happens.
Okay. Nice.
Awesome. Good stuff, Wes. Well, appreciate you coming
Well,
on and yeah, keep me
I,
posted. I want to hear how
I
you
really appreciate your time and thank you.
absolutely. You're very welcome.
All right, buddy.
All right, chat. Let's see what you got. Any questions that have come in here so far? Um, yeah, Reginald York, unconscious competence. Yeah, another word for it is called procedural memory. If you want to do a quick Google search on it, I don't see any questions here directly. So let me actually kind of talk about the first two. Um, Stage one is called unconscious incompetence. You don't even know what you're bad at, right? Then you become aware of it. And, to some degree, we could say that for Les here today, right? Then the next stage is called conscious incompetence. And this is one of the more dangerous stages too, right? When you reach conscious incompetence, you're now aware of what you're bad at, but you still suck. Okay. So sometimes, that awareness can make you think that you're skilled, right? There's a kind of a quick pivot of like, well, now I know what I should or should not do. Well, that means that I'm done, right? And that couldn't be farther from the truth. So it is super, super important, right, that you are aware of kind of what stage you are in the learning process and continually gearing yourself towards reaching that unconscious competence where you become a master of that aspect of your trading. Now, when I say mastery, right, I'm not saying you become masterful of trading because that's the whole point of what we were just talking about. No, what I'm saying is that you become masterful about certain elements of it, certain basics, certain pieces. And here's the thing, when you do that, you actually free up your mind to now take on new things, right? If your mind is so consumed with a lot of knowledge, like if you're that person who is knowledgeable about a lot of things but masterful about very little, your mind is consumed with so much information that it becomes very, very difficult for you to continue to improve, right? And many traders kind of plateau as a result of this. So I see a quick question from Phoenix. Hey, Jared, why am I able to hold losers forever, but cut winners so quickly? Well, common issue, a lot of reasons where it could be. I'd say the more common one is if you close a losing trade, you are realizing that loss. Oftentimes, traders hold on to losers because there's still hope that it can turn around. And that hope is incredibly dangerous, right? There is no room in trading for hope. Hope is the emotion connected to things that are outside of your control. And everything about your trading needs to be in your control. That doesn't mean short-term results. It means process and execution. And you cut winners quickly because, look, you've got some unrealized P&L that you want to grab hold of immediately. And if you don't do that, well, then you're going to very quickly risk it getting eviscerated. But look, if you have a business that relies on a certain profit margin and you're willing to sell those products for a steep discount every time somebody comes in and says, hey, I've got money, I want that. I mean, you're going to go out of business, right? So your business as a trader, right, relies on sustaining that profit margin. All right, one more quick question, and then we're going to get to our next guest. How can a person with ADHD deal with overtrading or having a need to focus on multiple instruments trades instead of focusing on one trade? So ADHD makes it harder, just not impossible. And yes, we could argue that there are some benefits that come with ADHD, right? There's a certain element of creativity that we often find with people with ADHD, but there's a certain element of training, just like I was talking about with Les, that is required to kind of push yourself to adhere to your style and strategy, and maybe that means having more breaks throughout the day where you've got windows of time where you're resetting yourself. So you're kind of going in, like for you, maybe, you can only bench press, let's say 3 times because the weight is so high. Whereas for other people, right, the weight isn't as high. So they can stick around a lot longer, meaning like the rep cycles of people that don't have ADHD, like they could trade for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time without any issues. Whereas for you, maybe you need to take breaks like every 15 minutes, every half hour. And depending on candle size that you're trading on, like might as well just, give yourself the opportunity to take a quick little break. So, all right. With that, let's bring up our next guest, Steve, and see what we can do for you, my friend. Steve, good to see you again. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Excellent. Well, if you can kind of bring everybody else into the fold here in terms of what it is that you're looking to work on today, and including just maybe kind of quick background on your trading style and strategy.
Sure, I started trading over 20 years ago, mostly stocks, then moved into options, and a few years later found futures, and I was not terribly profitable with options, so moved to futures and did that for quite a few years, and got laid off in 2008 and had been successful with my trading, so decided to become a full-time trader. And did that for a couple of years till I ran out of money and failed at being a full-time trader. Went back to work, kind of ignored the markets for a few years, but the bug never went away and started trading futures again and found Nasdaq rather than the S&P, and it kind of I felt it suited me a little bit better. So nowadays, I've been profitable for quite a while. What made me profitable, I think, was concentrating on one market and just a couple of setups and just trading those over and over and over again. And I also learned a heck of a lot about myself in the trading journey with the help of your book too.
Hmm.
I learned that I'm a very competitive person, so I need to win. So I trade in a style that lets me win most of the time. The drawback to that is it's extremely hard for me to accept losses. And I go on long daily winning streaks. I'll win 2, 3, 3.5 weeks in a row and get overconfident and think I can make any trade and win when that's not necessarily the case.
Okay. Uh, so the need to win, the hatred of losing, how does that specifically show up in your day-to-day trading?
So I am a scalper. Trading the Nasdaq, I usually go for 5 to 10 points. With the crazy volatility the last couple of weeks, I've increased my target, increased my stops, and decreased the number of contracts I'm trading. And I've still been profitable and successful, but it takes those small wins, even though my losses are bigger than my wins. My winning percentage is high, which fits with my psyche. And I think I don't want to take losses because it takes several trades to make up the loss. And that gets tough, but I've done it over and over, so I don't know why I still have a problem accepting losses.
Hmm. Generally speaking, when there's a lack of acceptance at this stage, early on it can be because of just a bit of lack of knowledge about the differences between trading and, many aspects of life and how much control you really have. But at this stage of the game for you, what that tells me is that there's some underlying flaw, bias, wish, illusion that's kind of running in the background that's not allowing that knowledge to kind of click into place and for the acceptance to be kind of implicit. You're kind of having to force that acceptance. And as a scalper, you don't have time, right? It's things are moving way too fast. So for you more than most, certainly swing traders, right? You do not have the luxury of that injecting logic tactic that I talk about in the book about my work, where we're kind of consciously applying corrections. You really do have to kind of front load the corrections ahead of time, and maybe applying that regularly throughout the day in order to kind of inoculate yourself more frequently. But my guess is we need to do a little bit of examination to figure out exactly what that flaw, bias, wish, illusion is. And for those that aren't that familiar with my strategy, those that are watching now, any of the issues that you experience on the surface, whether it's a hatred of losing, whether it's FOMO, revenge trading, overconfidence, lack of confidence, any of those issues, right? They're signals of underlying issues, right? That are ultimately producing that. The way I kind of think about it is like a weed, right? If you want to get rid of this problem, if you don't get the roots, the sucker is going to grow back, and that's sounds like what's happening here for you, Steve. So let's try to examine a little bit more closely why it is that there's a part of you that's still kind of rejecting the inherent nature of trading and the reality that losses are going to be kind of part of that. When I kind of frame it that way to you right now, what comes to mind? What do you think is kind of in there that in terms of why it would make sense to you that you would hate losing and not accept it quite yet?
Um, I I still see it as I see a loss as a failure
Hmm.
rather than an inherent part of trading. I have had some days where I don't lose trades at all, but they're very rare. So I know on the surface that losing is a part of trading and it's something that I need to accept and work on, deal with, but I think I see a loss as a failure, and that's my biggest problem. I haven't really ever failed in my life, so
Hmm.
it's tough. I've kind of accomplished everything I've set out to do with my career and family and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard for me to fail when I'm taking a loss.
Right. And does the idea of failure like remind you anything kind of growing up or in your professional life before trading? Like was there what maybe we'll say kind of an extreme aversion to failure, one that was maybe a bit impractical in understanding how failure can sometimes be helpful?
I actually think it was a trading thing.
Hmm.
Um, I had I had really good success when I switched to futures and kind of settled down a little bit, and I doubled my account in about 5 or 6 months, and then I had one losing day that wiped out all of that gain because I couldn't believe that the market was going down. I thought it needed to go up, and I just fought it and
Hmm.
fought it and fought it. And I kind of think it all relates back to that. That was a massive failure, and I still think about it to this day,
Ah,
and it kind of messed with my trading psyche. Even the next day after that, I lost another like $9,000 or $10,000. So it was brutal.
right. So we're maybe talking about some trading scar tissue here that
I
is hanging
think that's
around.
probably what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty common thing. I mean, I had clients in many respects who've had some big missed opportunities in their career. And I think anytime that you're continually thinking about a failure or a mistake, um, it to me says that there's something to learn from, right? There's a reason why you're kind of hanging on to it. And for a lot of people, it is because they won't forgive themselves. Um, and I'm not saying that it's just about saying like, I forgive you. It's not as simple as that, right? It's, I think, extracting the learnings and the lessons. And would you say that you were overconfident prior to those big losses?
Yes.
And you already mentioned that overconfidence is a problem still today. So
Yes.
to some respects, even though you become, successful now and haven't gone through the road that you have, that piece of the puzzle hasn't actually been corrected. So it's possible that right now you're not accepting losses because there's a part of you that hasn't actually learned to correct your overconfidence because that's what caused the big failure and that today now triggers the feeling of failing when you're kind of faced with a loss today. You know,
That
does
makes
that kind of
sense.
all wind together? Does that make sense?
It does because I still have problems with overconfidence when I'm on a good run and stop trading my signals and start doing whatever I think is best, and I inevitably lose, and it kind of kicks me back into
Yep.
good trading
Yeah.
again.
Now you're obviously a far more skilled trader today than you were, back then, but there's pieces of it that are exactly the same.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
for anybody else who's watching right now, like this is very common, as I said. And so for yourselves, if you recognize some of that scar tissue, some of those past losses, memories, sometimes it's even massive wins, right? Things that your mind gets so fixated on. Spend some time to really examine what you need to learn from that memory, because that's what you need to be carrying forward to make you measurably better today. That's how you kind of get over these things. It's not about getting over it. It's about actually kind of resolving or correcting kind of what happened in that span. Sometimes the big wins is how you handled it afterwards and, getting complacent in their end. So, all right, but back to you, Steve. So let's now kind of firmly examine the overconfidence, which turns out to be quite the theme of the day today. Um, so, how would you best describe the specific things that are going through your mind on those days where you're winning or at any time where you're getting overconfident today in a way that feels similar to the past.
So the first thing that I really see is that I don't trade my signals. I have a couple of signals that I regularly watch for that happen s- enough throughout the day that I can be profitable where I want to be. But when I'm getting overconfident, I don't trade those signals, or I may trade those signals, but I trade anything. If I look at the market and think, I think it should go up from here, I'll just go long without any kind of
Mm,
signal whatsoever, thinking that it's gonna win because that's what I do. I win.
hmm.
And that's inevitably a rude awakening that I don't always win. And I'm perfectly capable of losing just like everybody who trades. But on the days when I really have the overconfidence flowing, I fight it. I'm fighting the market. I'm not being patient. I'm just jumping in whenever. So I just think I can do anything.
Yep. Okay. Well said. Again, it can be sometimes hard to like really articulate these things, when they're just kind of stuck in your mind. Um, Everything you've said does make sense to me. I'm curious for you though, when you hear it, did anything kind of jump out that you might not have recognized before?
Um, I I think I kind of recognize the overconfidence now, and I realize I am not trading, following my process and doing the thing that I know works. In the past, especially that really bad day that I had, I was shut off. I didn't really realize what I was doing, I think, because I talked to a trading friend afterward, and I said I felt fine. I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong. And when I look back at the end of the day, I got creamed. So I think now I can recognize it. And before, it was like I had, like, my brain got severed in two, and the trading side didn't check in with the risk manager side, and just
Right.
whatever.
So, I mean, listen, kudos to you for getting to that point. And just for others, how long do you think it took you to develop that level of self-awareness that you could recognize what the overconfidence in real time?
It's
And
probably
like kind of the actively working on it.
6 or 7 years. It took a
Okay.
long time for me to
Yeah.
recognize it.
Okay.
And
But
and
just so not to scare everybody else, it can happen faster if you're more diligent with it. But I respect the fact that it maybe part of this was actually because your mind kind of didn't want to make that connection. Because when you have that feeling of like I can do whatever I want to do, you're not really connected with the idea that you've got to actually kind of work at identifying these overconfident impulses.
yeah,
All right.
that
So let's get to the heart of what's going on here. Why do you think it's possible for you to think that you can do whatever you can do or want to do? That these positions are going to go wherever you think they're going to go.
um part of it is because I've been winning, because I've been following my process. Part of it is because I
So
have
I'm going to
always
pause
been
there.
able to
I'm going to
do
argue.
it.
I'm going to argue that is secondary. That there's a belief, there's a perspective that you have that outcome or those outcomes then kind of allow you to kind of be seduced into believing that you can do whatever you want. Right? It's not the results, it's your perspective and how you're seeing those results. And that's what I'm trying to tease out. So like what part of you is allowing yourself to believe that having a great track record, huge months, huge weeks, huge days will allow you to think that you can do whatever you want?
I think it's because I've always been successful in my life. I'm not a dumb guy. I know that. I've I spent decades in network engineering, and I had a CCIE, which is like a PhD of network engineering.
Mm,
Difficult certification to get, but I got that, and I grew my salary high. I was a director of network engineering teams near the end of my career. So, I went to college. I've raised two kids that are doing great. So I think I've always been successful in my life, and been able to accomplish anything I've put my mind to. So I don't think trading should be any different. And that boils down to even an individual trade.
yep. Yeah. And so maybe I would say that there's like an element of control. So in a lot of the things that you do, there is far more control over short-term outcomes um, than there is in trading. And maybe it plus trading has allowed you to believe that you're just in more control than you actually are. Um, and again, not entirely flawed, right? It's that it's incredibly flawed in this environment where short-term results are not in your control. So you're sort of believing that you're in control of your results today or the results of this trade because the totality of your experience says that you are, when really it's no, you have much more control over your longer term results, the what's going to happen over the next month, quarter or year, not what's going to happen in this one individual trade.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I've always
Okay.
had control of where I'm going.
Okay. So look, some of this probably isn't again like a big news flash here, but I think a lot of the improvement for you is going to come from front loading the correction. Okay. and reminding yourself, like with a drum beat of repetition before the trading day starts, after you close positions. If you have moments, obviously during them, go for it, but they move too fast, right? So the bigger one's going to come, after you get out of a position, reminding yourself to get ready for the next one with the right perspective, which is, I do not have firm control over what happens, in this next trade. I have firm control over my execution, the trades that I'm taking, the way that I'm managing them. And I'm attempting to gain more control of my ability to handle the losses by understanding that I'm not in control of what happens in this trade. I cannot and never have that kind of predictive power. I'm not a psychic, right? If you were, we wouldn't be talking, right? You wouldn't be trading because, you might as well at that point just sports bet because that's a heck of a lot easier. But anyway, so again, I think it's the application on a high frequency basis, because unlike other traders, you don't have the luxury of the real time in the moment injecting logic. It's got to be, kind of front loaded and then reminded afterwards, so that you're then kind of preparing for the next trade and just getting lots and lots of repetition throughout the trading day.
So I can control myself and what I do in the trades, but I cannot control the market. That kind of
Yes,
thinking.
and I would argue that right now you don't have firm control of what you do in the trades. You're looking to acquire that control through a process that trains you to have the right perspective.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay.
Great.
All right, we'll get the reps in.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome, Steve. Thanks for coming on today.
Of course.
All right, good stuff there. Appreciate both Les and Steve coming on today. And again, those of you who want to become a future guest on Retail Therapy, fill out that survey. We'll drop the link for you again below. And now we've got 14 minutes left here, so let's have at it with some of your questions. I see a few of you maybe a little bit scared by you're only 9 months in here trading. Again, when you're developing self-awareness, when you're developing more precise recognition of the mental emotional things that you're dealing with, it is a process that you can absolutely accelerate. And actually, you know what, Kevin, I am going to share my screen here and just quickly show this data collection worksheet, which is freely available on my website, jaredtendler.com/worksheets. But you can see it's not a very complicated thing. Okay. This is a phenomenal tool, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I'm saying that because the traders that I've worked with over the years, whether it be also through the book and heard from the book, or also in my community, like they use this as a regular tool to gather up important data points around their trading mistakes. And when you understand that there's this sort of mental and emotional deviation that's occurring around your recurring trading mistakes, you need to become more aware of what's happening in real time. It's going to help you to build more awareness so you can see it and make some different decisions. Number two, it helps you to gather up the important details that are going to help you to actually correct the problem to begin with. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, other than to say, look, the trigger is what sparks the emotion, the thoughts, like what are specifically kind of going through your head, the emotions, right? What are you feeling? Is it the FOMO, the revenge trading, the overconfidence, etc.? The behaviors and actions kind of similar, but think about like the physical signs of frustration or fear, right? Your heart rate increases, you have tension in your stomach, things like that. Do you lean into the screens? Are you zeroing down to or down to different time frames, trading different symbols than you would normally? Changes in your decision making or market perception. This is not about a correction, right? The word change sometimes can be misinterpreted. This is about how does your mind deviate? How do you convince yourself from a decision making standpoint that this is maybe a viable opportunity to jump into? Or how does your perception of the market alter in a negative way? So we can stop the screen share there now. But yeah, if you want to be rapidly accelerate the pace with which you are able to build that awareness, then yeah, use the data collection worksheet. So, all right, let's get to some questions here. So We've got smooth operator. How can I reframe my losses so that I don't give in to the urge to revenge trade with bigger size to make it back? So the reframing is a bit of an attempt to gain control. But to me, in order to do that properly, we need to understand the flaw, the bias, the wish, the illusion that's kind of running around in the background. Now, revenge trading has two components to it, okay? There is number one, the anger, okay? The anger caused by a hatred of losing, a uh, uh, a hatred of the luck factor, a function of some entitlement, uh, or a hatred of mistakes, combined with some weakness in your confidence. So for a lot of traders, it's the weakness in confidence that's more consequential. Okay, you're trying to trade with bigger size to get your confidence back. Yes, obviously, you're trying to make the money back, but you're okay taking your time with that if your confidence is still intact. And for a lot of you, and smooth operator, I would argue that that's the case for you. There's a part of you that loses confidence when you take those big losses, and you immediately want to get it back. Now, here's the thing: if you gamble, right, which is obviously trading with bigger size is gambling. If you're gambling to get money back, your confidence is going to be weaker afterwards, even if you're successful. Why? Because you've done it the wrong way. You've traded outside your system. You've traded in a way that is not reliable long term. So how can that build the right kind of confidence? No. So the reframing here in my mind is double down on what you know works. If you have a profitable strategy, you take losses, that obviously is part of the game. You intellectually know that. But here is your chance to train yourself to rely on your edge as the way to grind your way back towards profitability or grind your way back. Again, whether it's on an intraday basis or a larger time frame. I mean, you're not making back the losses. You're grinding your way forward and earning your edge. Like that is where you're going to, in doing it that way, you're going to build the right kind of confidence, which is what you need more long term. So. All right, Ty, why does my mentality change when I go to a funded account compared to an eval account? Because now it matters. There's just more pressure on the line. Evals, right? You buy new ones all the time. Now you get funded. All of a sudden, now it matters. So the pressure increases, and when pressure increases, weaknesses get exposed mentally, tactically. So it becomes I would say, a very important way of identifying what you need to be correcting. Not always the most fun way to find it because now you spend all this work to get yourself funded. And now here you are kind of finding these weak points. But look, the reality is that every trader on the planet has weaknesses. Nobody's perfect, right? Weaknesses are an inherent part of our nature as human beings. So embracing those weaknesses, using that data collection worksheet, right, as a tool to identify what those weak points are mentally and emotionally. Do the same thing tactically. Like where do you get kind of thrown off here? The market's obviously the same, but you're different because the pressure is higher. So now you've got to use the feedback and make some distinct improvements both technically and mentally. All right, Norseman. In a previous segment, I think we brushed over this, but how or what would you recommend to a trader to include in their journal? Great question. I did a big blog on this one, and I want to post it real quickly. Um, called effective journaling. I'll throw it into the chat here for you. The thing I think with journaling that is a bit challenging for some is big blank sheet of paper. What the heck do I write? Right. And I think that's where it gets challenging. So I would strongly advise that you create some prompts, and people tend to respond best to questions. I know I certainly do. If I ask a question, excuse me, I'll just start spitting out answers. And the thing is with journaling, there's a degree to which like you're brainstorming and just kind of getting ideas out. And that's, I think, one of the biggest values of journaling. Again, taking sort of these ideas, maybe kind of randomly kind of scattered around in your mind, and beginning to kind of pull them together into some sort of coherent idea. So basic framework can be, on a daily time frame with a journal. What did you do well today? What did you improve on specifically with the things that you're trying to improve on, right? What did you learn, right? If you made some mistakes, like why, what was going on, what can you do better tomorrow, right? There you go. 3, 4, 5 questions that you can be asking yourself becomes an easy way to journal afterwards. And I would strongly advise that when you're building this habit, you keep the expectation of something that's reasonable. If you basically say, "Oh, I'm going to journal for 30 minutes every single day," you do it 2 days and then not do it for a week, and then you do it for 3 days again, and then not for another week. Like you're kind of missing the bigger opportunity, which is the regularity with which you're doing it. So do it for 3 to 5 minutes, something that's reasonable that you can reliably be doing every single day after you get done with trading. And one of the things you'll read in that blog, which I think is one of the most kind of undervalued components to journaling, is the ability to dump out of your mind all of this information. Okay. When you are writing, you're doing two things simultaneously. Number one, you are indicating to your brain what's important and you're capturing it, which allows it to relax, right? You fill up a backpack with a ton of stuff throughout the day, right? You want to be able to take it off and just relax. That's what writing does, right? It takes all the important stuff, puts it down on paper, and allows your mind to relax. Number two, it simultaneously tells your mind what does not matter, and you can just chuck it out. So you get some reinforcement of things that are valuable, and you get to chuck out the rest. And yeah, you throw the baby out with the bathwater, you're going to find it again in the future, right? There's going to be some important things that you'll recognize in the future. Again, it will pop back up, but both of which become a real significant way for the mind to relax. And recovery is so important for you as traders, right? You have to think about this endeavor from a performance mentality, right? You're athletes, so to speak, right? And recovery is essential for athletes because you need to come back tomorrow stronger and more capable. But what happens, right? As the week goes on, right? Thursday, Friday, some of you are limping into the weekends, right? And maybe that's where some of the more mistakes occur, in part because you just are not getting great rest. There's more and more information just building up in your mind, and that like actually does impair your ability to make clear and sophisticated decisions. So, all right, good question. All right, Mark, what kind of journaling would you want me to correct? My stop size and number of stops is adjusted. Yeah, look, I'm not big in terms of determining the exact trading tactics for journaling tactics for the trading side of things. So I would encourage you to ask that question of the other phenomenal traders that are here. Hi, Steve. I developed an absolutely horrible habit trading on prop accounts where I'm so worried about stop losses that I've been setting my stops too close, and I get wicked out, and then the trade goes the way that I was expecting. What do you recommend to get over this mental hurdle? This is a tough one, Steve. If you can post a little bit more. You said you're trading 2 micros, can't size down much further. But I guess my question for you though is like why do you think you're so worried about those stop losses? I need a little bit more information about that. And again, so from a data collection standpoint, like this is more of kind of what you'd want to be teasing out, right? So you recognize that this is the problem, right? This is the mistake that you're making, but there's more information that's needed to really kind of dissect the issue. Again, it's not to say that you don't have a starting point here, but this is what we need a little bit more. So post more in the chat. We still got a couple minutes left here. I'll get to another question while you're writing down more about why you're worried about it. All right, Christoph, is there a certain kind of people or behavior mindset that would make it impossible to become a profitable trader? Look, I mean, if you have severe, addiction problems, I would say that could make it nearly impossible to become a profitable trader. Now, look, to some degree, some traders think of themselves as addicted to trading, but they're actually incredibly skilled traders. They're just addicted to it. They love it. They're passionate about it. They're, again, like athletes or any high performance people who are workaholics, love what they do. I mean, like we can qualify things as being bad, but that's really sort of a societal connotation. When I'm saying like a severe, like addictive personality, like to gambling related to money, we're talking about like neurological issues, right? It would be impairing your performance. That would probably be the only real disqualifier as I would find. Maybe obviously there could be other, sort of significant mental and emotional disorders that could be part of that too. But if we take sort of the kind of more normal kind of everyday issues, right? Even if you have, things that are requiring some, work with a clinician, a therapist, or a psychiatrist, um, I generally think that if you are a procrastinator, if you tend to be lazy, if you're generally unmotivated, it is going to be really, really hard for you to become profitable. This is not a game for the faint of heart, right? It's a skill-based endeavor. You can make money quickly, but that does not make you skilled, right? Profitability is the moniker of a highly skilled trader, right? And or it should be the moniker of a highly skilled trader, not just somebody who has made money. Those are two very, very different things. And if you really struggle to have consistent motivation, you're going to really struggle to be able to be successful here. All right, Steve, let's back to you real quick. Maybe last thing to wrap up here, because you've blown so many eval accounts, you're sick of blowing up accounts, and I know you can do this. I see the trade going the right way. All right, look, you're hung up on the past, much like the scar tissue I was mentioning earlier with Steve, right? But like you're not extracting the learning. So you've learned a lot and consciously understand what you're capable of, but now you're not really applying that because there's a part of you that's still hung up on all those blown accounts, when perhaps those blown accounts have actually led to a lot of learnings and lessons that is part of what has made you very capable today. So I would recommend going back into your past, right, and thinking around these blown accounts. What are you still hung up on? Because the pain associated with them is so great that you're now protecting yourself from that pain, but you're now protecting yourself from success, and that's an equation that is not going to serve you well long term. All right, great questions, everybody. Thanks again to Wes and Steve for coming on today. And again, if you want to come on a future episode of Retail Trading, fill out that survey. I'll be reviewing every single one, and we'll select a couple for our next episode. Again, thanks to NinjaTrader Live here. Happy to be here again. Been a great episode here for me. Always enjoy answering your questions. Lots of great questions from you, chat. Really appreciate it. Great to be here as always. Until next time, wish you all well.